Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Andrew Moran, John Clark, Scott Cosenza, and Graham Noble. And this is the Conservative Five, an online TV production of Liberty Nation News. Those of a certain age remember that Rowan and Martin show Laugh-In. Well, they had a segment called The Fickle Finger of Fate, and we're going to do our level best to try to revisit that segment. Each panelist gets 90 seconds to introduce the wackiest or dumbest thing happening lately in politics. There's plenty to go on, so you should not be bored. The rest of us will have 3 minutes combined to talk about it. So, Scott, want to go first?
Not really, no.
Oh.
I don't know. You're gonna hate my choice. I know it, but it is the dumbest thing is the unforced Donald Trump doubling down on the Jimmy Kimmel free speech debacle. He ham-handed it. He should have dismissed the government minister, and it would have been a great move, by the way, if he said to his FCC commissioner, "Hey, this guy's going to get fired because he's a loser and his ratings suck." And anything else that Donald Trump would say that would be funny in the place of that, and say, let the market win out. But it's a giant unforced error. And I guess this is not like a zany, wacky thing, but boy, I just thought, I was in the room at the Libertarian National Convention when Trump seemed to win over the room and then seemed to carry forward the 4% of Americans who vote Libertarian to vote for him, at least by and large, and helping him win the presidency. And I see that circling the drain now. So anyway, that's my thing.
Well, I completely 100% agree with you, because his ratings have probably doubled, since he became the poster child for free speech for the left. People are going to tune in and watch him now.
I don't remember if it was here on the C5 or on Liberty Nation Radio, but one time I was in the position of having to defend like Kim Il-jung because of something. And it was like, I hate to be in that position. And I hate to be in the position of, saying that these progressives are right. And the Trump, especially on the free speech issue, knowing where we've come from. But that just seems to be the reality we're in at the moment.
I think the worst thing Trump said, actually, when it comes to free speech lately, the worst thing he said actually wasn't related to Jimmy Kimmel. He was in the White House and he was answering questions, and he was talking about the negative coverage he gets on the mainstream media. And he said literally something along the lines of, look, when 90% of the coverage is negative, that's not free speech. And even though I do actually, and I'm not going to do it not right now because we don't have the time, I know that I could explain what he meant when he said it, but it was such an awful, awful way to word it that that was dreadful. I mean, sometimes he says things that make me shake my head. That was one of those times.
Andrew, you gonna jump in here?
Yeah, so there was an MSNBC segment recently featuring a lady by the name of Tina Guyen. She's the author of a book called The MAGA Diaries. So she had a hilarious comment warning about Christian nationalism. And she said, quote, "It merges Christianity with a specific interpretation of what the founding fathers wanted. What Aristotle wanted. Oh no, Aristotle, a radical philosopher." Now, what did Aristotle believe in? It's funny that you mentioned Aristotle, because I've been rereading him lately, because there's this great newsletter called The Culturist, and they've been talking about Aristotle. I read a lot of him when I was in high school, because Ayn Rand said he's the only philosopher that should be listened to. But anyway, so what did he believe in? What did he believe in? He believed in the idea of eudaimonia. It's essentially that happiness is the main goal of life, and it's only achieved by living virtuously. So according to Aristotle, the way to live virtuously was being courageous, believing in justice, and being wise. And I don't know how that's a terrible thing. So that's MSNBC for you, going absolutely berserk, or this one progressive individual going berserk at the idea of Aristotle.
I don't even know what the heck you just said.
Well, you didn't own it.
It's gonna take me a minute to process. I'm not good at that.
Well, he viewed
ciphering Andrew's mind.
What's wrong with that? I don't see what the problem is.
Well, I think the question is whether. So now, are you saying that was the dumbest thing of the week, or were you responding to?
So you need an interpreter when we do this segment.
Oh my goodness, her comment was absolutely absurd. It was ridiculous. I don't know how anyone can be upset by the ideas of Aristotle. So that's my pick for how absurd of the absurdity of the week.
I know Graham wants to add some comments to this, and I also know that Scott's chomping at the bit.
If Scott's got something to say about it, I mean, I said my piece about, the whole Trump with the free speech thing, which was stupid to me. If Scott's got more to add, go ahead, Scott.
Well, I don't know if this elevates it or not, but the reason why Rand thought that Aristotelian logic was worth coveting and holding on to is because that then it's A is A and 1 + 1 = 2 is the basis of all of our conclusions that we draw. It's what allows us to build bridges and skyscrapers and not wants and wishes and affirmative action and inclusion. The metaphysical facts don't care about your feelings.
All right.
And the Goldilocks zone of happiness, whereby you can't have two extremes where it's all leisure all the time, or it's sloth or hard work all the time. So that's another thing that I admire from Aristotle's philosophy.
That could have been, you took the long way around the barn that time. Hey, Mr. Clark, what did you find to be the dumbest thing that happened this week?
Well, I would say my Goldilocks Aristotelian joy comes from being here with you guys on C5, I think. But I do want to say in response to the others, I agree with both Graham and Scott about Donald Trump's mishandling of the free speech issue. It's cringeworthy. But I also felt that one of the craziest stories that I've just been watching with shaking my head has been the Kimmel story. Not Donald Trump's response, but the way the left-wing media has gone on these histrionics about how it's the end of free speech. And aside from the issue that I've suggested, I don't really see that the government mandated his firing, or he'd still be fired, I presume, and without getting into that. But the idea that the people on the left are this projectionism after what was done under Biden, as the complete assault on free speech and investigating Catholic churches, and that's why that ties in actually with what Andrew's saying about the histrionics about Christian nationalism. Yeah, they have free speech to say crazy things, and so for me, the culmination when they rehired Kimmel, it just kind of it deflated the entire narrative that he had been shut off by government authority. So I couldn't pick a better one until I heard about the Tylenol story that I think Graham's gonna. Then I was like, oh, that topped it. But somebody beat me to that one. I couldn't even believe that was true. But
I mean, the social media challenges watching.
Well, I don't want to steal his thunder.
Don't. I want to hear Graham's take on this.
Well, I'll make one comment on what John just said, and that is that looking back over the Biden years and the censorship that went on. But here's the big thing. By the left's own standard, Jimmy Kimmel should have been banned from ever going on TV again by their standard. And I say this because the biggest word we heard over the last 4 years was misinformation. And if you go on social media and spread misinformation, you are banned. You're banned for life from whatever platform, X or Facebook, whatever it is. Misinformation. That was the cardinal sin. And Jimmy Kimmel on his show absolutely spread misinformation by what he said about the guy who assassinated Charlie Kirk.
But what I just wanted to say is you're wrong. It is not about misinformation. If Jimmy Kimmel was a conservative, it was his blackface Karl Malone bit that would have got him tossed off, because that's even worse than that other thing. Or his teasing of women in a sexual way that he's done that somehow is acceptable if you're a progressive, but ogreish and a lifetime ban appropriate if you're not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right, who have I missed? Anybody?
Graham.
Yeah, Graham. I want to hear Graham. I want to hear him.
Well, yeah, mine is, of course, with the first there was Tide Pods and now there's Tylenol. Of course, the whole the Tide Pods thing at least wasn't actually political. You know, that was just started out as some stupid dare. Someone decided that they were gonna eat a Tide Pod for whatever reason.
So good.
And everyone else started doing it. But the Tylenol thing is crazy because now you've actually got videos popping up all over the internet. Well, mostly on TikTok they are, but they're being reposted on Facebook. And there are these videos of these women, you know, down in Tylenol. And even pregnant women are doing this. And one pregnant woman, even in that, she was quoted in that the British Daily Mail newspaper. She was quoted as saying, you know, here am I, a pregnant woman, and I'm taking Tylenol because I believe in science. Now, and that always cracks me up because anybody who says the phrase, I believe in science, is demonstrating that they haven't got a clue what science is, what it actually means. You know, they think science is a thing. They think it's I don't know. It's like
omnipotent.
Whatever Dr. Fauci says it is at any given moment.
I am the science.
Science itself is literally a process. The word science only means that it's a process of, you know, experimentation and discovery and theorizing. It's a process. You can't believe in science. Nobody can believe in science. It's ridiculous. But the other thing is that, you know, they're really going nuts on this Tylenol thing that people are posting also that, you know, well, I hope Tylenol sues the Trump administration. For what? Nobody has ever suggested that Tylenol causes autism. But this is what they're saying. This is what the left are saying. They're saying that Trump actually said Tylenol causes autism. Nobody's saying that. There is no proof whatsoever that Tylenol causes autism. It's simply this. What they're saying is that, as to their, you know, according to their findings, it has a negative. Let's say it enhances the negativity of childhood vaccines. That's kind of what they're saying. Nobody's saying you shouldn't ever take Tylenol again. Nobody's saying it causes autism, and so they're totally freaking out about this. But I love the idea that they're downing Tylenol now as fast as they can. And I think a lot of this country's problems would be sorted out if Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. go do an address to the nation in which they say that after an exhaustive 7-month study, the Department of Human Health and Services would like to warn everybody that jumping off of the top of tall buildings is not a recommended form of exercise.
Wow. Okay. Graham took it a little further than I was expecting, but everybody, you want to weigh in on Graham's, not the tall buildings part, but, you know, the other stuff. Anyone?
I think Graham summarized it perfectly. Yeah, Graham just great.
He got the best one as far as the craziness of the week, I think.
I think it's pretty crazy, and that's why Graham gets the award for the fickle finger of fate this week. Well, thank you guys for playing along, coming with some good information, some snarky comments, and a little bantering back and forth. Oh, anyway, we hope you played along with us, but and we're still working on a cameo appearance by Goldie Hawn and some other, you know, former stars of the 60s. See you next time, guys. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform, YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble. We're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation News has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. Now, Liberty Nation does not endorse candidates, campaigns, or legislation, and this presentation is no endorsement. I'm your host, Sarah Cowgill. Thanks for joining us today for the latest news and commentary. Your choice for free thinking, free speech, libertynation.com.